Welcome to Gaze into Cinema, the baffling vanishing of Frederick Valentich. In the domain of unexplained vanishings, barely any cases are essentially as bewildering and mysterious as that of Frederick Valentich. A youthful pilot with fantasies about taking off through the skies, Valentich evaporated without a follow during a normal trip over the base waterway in Australia, abandoning a legacy covered in mystery and hypothesis. Frederick Valentich was brought into the world on June 9, 1958, in Melbourne, Australia, into a family enthusiastically for flying. Since early on, he was enraptured by the charm of flight, going through innumerable hours concentrating on airplane and longing for turning into a pilot. His desire drove him to seek after a lifelong in flying, and in 1977 he got his confidential pilot's permit. On the night of October 21, 1978, Valentich set out on what might be his last flight. Withdrawing from Moorabbin Air Terminal in Melbourne, he set out to arrive at Ruler Island, a little expanse of land situated in the Bass Waterway between Central Area Australia and Tasmania. It was a normal flight, one that Valentich had embraced various times before without occurrence. As Valentich flew over the Bass Waterway, he connected with Aviation Authority to report a unidentified airplane flying in nearness to his own. Portraying the other specialty as an enormous airplane with 4 brilliant lights, Valentich communicated worry about its goals and mentioned help from airport regulation. What occurred next remains one of the most bewildering parts of the Valentich case. As indicated by records of his radio intercommunications, Valentich announced that the unidentified airplane was circling above him and gave off an impression of being playing with him. He depicted the specialty as having a gleaming metal surface and approval on its underside. As the experience unfurled, Valentich developed progressively upset, announcing that the puzzling airplane was currently flying straightforwardly at him. In his last transmission, he expressed the chilling words, "It's anything but an airplane." Minutes after the fact, all contact with Valentich was lost, and he and his plane vanished suddenly. In the long stretches of time that followed, a broad pursuit activity was sent off to find Valentich and his airplane. In any case, in spite of the endeavors of search and salvage groups, no indication of either was at any point found. The vanishing of Frederick Valentich stays quite possibly of the most getting-through secret in Australian flying history. Various speculations have been proposed to make sense of Valentich's vanishing, going from the commonplace to the extraordinary. Some accept that he might have become confused or failed to keep a grip on his airplane, prompting an accident into the sea. Others hypothesize that he might have arranged his vanishing as a scam or to get away from individual inconveniences. However, maybe the most charming hypothesis is that Valentich experienced something extraordinary during his trip over the Bass Waterway. Some ufologists accept that he might have experienced an extraterrestrial shuttle, referring to his depictions of the unidentified airplane and the peculiar conditions encompassing his vanishing. Allies of the extraterrestrial hypothesis highlight comparable instances of UFO experiences announced by pilots all over the planet, as well as supposed government smokescreens of such occurrences. They contend that Valentich's vanishing fits an example of unexplained ethereal peculiarities that resist conventional clarification. In any case, doubters excuse the extraterrestrial hypothesis as theory and guess, highlighting the absence of substantial proof to help such cases. They contend that Valentich's vanishing can be made sense of by additional mundane elements, like pilot mistake or mechanical disappointment. Regardless of the progression of time, the vanishing of Frederick Valentich keeps on enamoring the public creative mind, rousing endless hypotheses, books, and narratives. His name has become inseparable from the obscure and the unexplained, a sign of the secrets that lie past the limits of human comprehension. As the years go by, reality behind Valentich's vanishing might stay tricky, everlastingly lost to the profundities of the Bass Waterway. However, his story fills in as a strong sign of the delicacy of human existence and the getting-through charm of the unexplored world. What's more, the same length as his destiny stays a secret, the legend of Frederick Valentich will proceed to entrance and interest ages to come. Frederick Valentich's vanishing on October 21, 1978, stays one of the most bewildering avionics secrets ever. A a youthful pilot from Australia, Valentich took off from Moorabbin Air Terminal in Melbourne on that portentous night, expecting to travel to Ruler Island, Tasmania, in a Cessna 182 airplanes. In any case, what unfolded during his flight and the resulting vanishing have left specialists and flying specialists confounded for quite a long time. Valentich's radio transmissions during his flight have turned into the focal point of extreme examination. At around 7:06 p.m., Valentich radioed Melbourne Flight Administration to report a unidentified airplane flying close to him. He portrayed the specialty as huge, metallic, and with a green light, and expressed that it was circling above him. Valentich's voice sold out a need to get moving and worry as he portrayed the obscure item. Throughout the following few minutes, Valentich's radio correspondences ended up being progressively whimsical and troubled. He revealed that the obscure airplane was presently following him and that it was not an airplane. Valentich's last transmission, at roughly 7:12 p.m., contained a chilling message. It's floating, and it's anything but an airplane. Presently, Valentich and his airplane vanished suddenly. Regardless of broad inquiry endeavors by Australian specialists, no destruction or debris from the plane was at any point found. The vanishing of Frederick Valentich and the conditions encompassing it have filled various hypotheses and theories. One winning hypothesis is that Valentich experienced a UFO or extraterrestrial art during his flight. Advocates of this hypothesis highlight the mysterious attributes of Valentich's accounted for locating, as well as the absence of any regular clarification for his vanishing. Some accept that Valentich might have been kidnapped by outsiders or taken on board the unidentified specialty. Another hypothesis proposes that Valentich's vanishing was the consequence of a sad mishap or pilot blunder. As indicated by this speculation, Valentich might have become confused or failed to keep a grip on his airplane, prompting an accident into the sea. Notwithstanding, pundits of this hypothesis contend that Valentich was an accomplished pilot with a decent security record, making such a result impossible. One more hypothesis sets that Valentich organized his own vanishing for obscure reasons. Some hypothesize that Valentich might have been confronting individual or monetary hardships and decided to deliberately evaporate. Nonetheless, there is little proof to help this hypothesis, and Valentich's loved ones have energetically prevented any idea from getting unfairness. The vanishing of Frederick Valentich has caught the creative mind of UFO lovers, connivance scholars, and flight devotees all over the planet. In spite of the section of over 40 years, the case stays open and unsettled. The Australian government's true examination presumed that the reason for Valentich's vanishing was obscure, leaving the entryway open to proceed with hypothesis and discussion. In recent years, new developments and discoveries have reignited interest in the Valentich case. In 2013, amateur jumpers professed to have found destruction from a small airplane off the shore of Cape Otway, close where Valentich was last heard from. Nonetheless, subsequent investigations verified that the destruction didn't have a place with Valentich's airplane, leaving the mystery perplexing. The vanishing of Frederick Valentich remains as an eerie sign of the secrets that still wait in the skies above us. Whether Valentich experienced a UFO, succumbed to a disastrous mishap, or met with some other destiny might very well never be known. However, his story proceeds to captivate and interest, reminding us of the vast depths of the unexplored world. Regardless of the absence of decisive proof, the memory of Frederick Valentich lives on, deified in books, documentaries, and fables. His vanishing fills in as a wake-up call for pilots and flight fans, reminding them of the dangers that can lurk in the skies above. And for those who continue to seek answers, the Valentich case remains a tantalizing mystery, an enigma ready to be solved. Thank you for watching.